Let my review go!
Hoop-de-doody-doodle. Moses supposes his toes are roses, but Moses supposes erroneously. For Moses, he knows his toes aren't roses, as Moses supposes his toes to be. Moses supposes his toes are roses. Moses supposes erroneously. Moses his toes are roses, as Moses supposes his toes to be. Roses, 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 but Moses supposes his toes couldn't be a lily or a tappy-dappy dilly. It's gotta be a rose, cause it rhymes with Moses. Moses! Moses! Moses!
Welcome back to Film Reviewer Schultz. Well, it's finally spring here, although you wouldn't know it from the weather. It's still snowing! And we've only recently gone through Easter and passed over Passover, so in that spirit, why don't we look at the Ten Commandments? The 2007 CGI version. Yeah, bet you haven't heard of that one before. There's a reason for that. This version of the story of Moses was made by two directors, Bill Boyce and John Stronach, for the company Promenade Pictures. It featured 4 actors you've heard of, with the rest of the cast filled out by lesser-known voice actors, including the voice of Piccolo in there somewhere. And yet they didn't get Lauren Landa or Kyle Hebert. On a budget of $10 million, it only grossed $938,232, managing to become the lowest-grossing animated film since the infamous Freddy as FR07. Interestingly, both films feature Ben Kingsley in their voice cast. So, let's part this Red Sea and find out just how Elliot Gould works in mysterious ways. Also, feel free to play along in the Prince of Egypt's comparison bingo. It was originally a drinking game, but Jesus H. Stop dancing crap! That didn't end too well. Also, before you see this film, I should make this absolutely clear. This was released to theaters. No, your productionist hasn't put in a bootleg of Age of Empires. This is really what the film looks like. Although, considering what the Nostalgia Critic reviewed recently...
Good night, Mr. Leonard.
It is you, the great Dexter.
I'm your new Brand X representative, sir.
Brand X data!
Godly thing comes out of your head.
Oh, Larry, I am not...
I should be thankful it doesn't look quite as bad as that. So anyway, trouble is brewing with Pharaoh here.
These Hebrews, these children of Israel, I don't like them. Not at all.
Not at all. Terrible people.
Not at all like us.
For we are bald! Seriously, all the male Egyptians in this have almost no hair.
I mean, whatever fuzz there was has gone south.
They should probably just stick to hang out with these guys. Also, 2 bumbling sidekicks. Check. So Pharaoh makes the slaves work harder, but they manage to survive that, so he pulls an even bigger act of villainy.
Go out and find every Hebrew baby boy. Throw them all into the Nile. Let the crocodiles have them.
Okay, normally I wouldn't laugh at something like that, but when you add little hand gestures into your evil announcement, it just makes you look like Profion. So Pharaoh's soldiers carry out the terrible task, but one family is determined to save their son.
We've hidden him 3 months, dear.
I don't know how much longer we can...
We've made him a basket, haven't we, Miriam?
A good basket, too. It'll float.
Oh, yes. It will float. They all float down here.
Open up.
Miriam, Aaron, hide your little brother. Out back, now.
If this is about the loud singing, I can explain all that.
Ah, never mind.
What singing? Nobody was singing. There was nothing remotely like singing going on. Why would you say something that isn't happening as a diversion? Wouldn't that make you seem more suspicious? You're lucky it worked this time. So they wait until nightfall and then send their son down the Nile. Moses almost getting eaten by a crocodile? Check. He winds up floating into the palace. No! He already has hair on his head! He'll be spotted immediately!
Because he was drawn from the water, his name shall be...
Clark Kent. So the Queen takes him in and his sister gets to help take care of him. The credits show Moses and Ramses growing up together. Stuff shown through hieroglyphics. Check. Then we see Ramses and Moses, now older and voiced by Alfred Molina and Kristen Slater, who has never sounded more like Matthew Broderick.
I'd never give up. You should learn to.
Really, it wouldn't be weird to hear him say, "That's a lot of fish." Moses and Ramses causing collateral damage. Check. Hey, I already got bingo.
Get going
Boy, you gotta wonder what the slaves must be thinking right now.
Well, I could get a better gig on the Sphinx.
Yeah.
So sometime later, after Moses has helped this old coot, he comes across the brutal soldier. But this scene isn't quite as riveting when he isn't played by Vincent Price.
Oh. Stop! That's enough of that.
This is none of your business. I beat these dogs all the time. It's the law of the land.
And the law is unjust. That's a man, not a dog. And a civilized man should not hurt even a dog. That's just not right.
You need to be taught a lesson.
You'd kill Pharaoh's grandson?
I'd kill anyone who mocks Pharaoh's law. And by the looks of you, you're no royal grandson.
What the heck was that? The scene was so weirdly animated you can't even see what happened. Well, anyway, now I know where Superman gets it from.
Jesus, guy!
Anyhow, Moses' brother Aaron shows up to catch Moses up to speed on his own backstory and help him take cover. Nothing about hiding the body, though.
Take this donkey. Flee while you still can.
What if he's voiced by Eddie Murphy? Oh, don't worry, we couldn't possibly afford him for this film. He's voiced by Chris Tucker instead. Hey, Moses! We gotta get out of here now! No, Moses, now! Whee! It's like a carnival ride! So Moses gets knocked out and captured, and Ramses banishes him to the desert. Yeah, unlike the Prince of Egypt, which actually showed the relationship between Moses and Ramses like two brothers who had actually grown up together, this film just has Ramses as a two-dimensional villain with It's nothing but contempt for Moses.
Begone from Egypt, Moses. Be the prince of the scorpions, the locusts, and the buzzards.
Well, those are all pretty deadly animals, so if he was ruler of them, they could probably all gang up and take you down. So Moses and the donkey go walking through the desert until they get to a well, which is being held up by the Super Mario Bin Laden brothers here.
The women were there first. Wait your turn, or deal with me.
Be off.
I'm a dead man to Pharaoh, and my donkey has a bad temper. So why don't you leave now? Let the women tend to their sheep. The two of us, we have nothing to lose or to fear.
Moses. He's one bad mofo. Oh yeah. So Moses gets married and has 2 children that we will barely see.
But in Egypt, the children of Israel cried in their bondage.
How's bondage gonna help us?
So this is where Moses comes across the burning bush, which he finds by following a lone sheep from the herd. Again. Check. God is voiced by Elliot Gould, doing it in a very calm and quiet tone.
I am the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, and the God of Isaac.
Now, while at least this is a departure from the typical big booming voice of God that's usually used, I don't think it really adds much to the role, and it almost borders on monotone.
I am that I am.
And that's all that I am! So God gives Moses his mission, and so he sets out for Egypt.
Please, don't leave us, Moses.
God has spoken. I must go.
Will we ever see you again?
Not in this version, you won't. You're all about to completely disappear from this film and never be mentioned again. Moses must be going for Father of the Year! So Moses goes on his journey and is reunited with Aaron and his sister Miriam. He goes to meet with Pharaoh, who is now Ramses. So he is now King Ramses.
You've always been a sorry excuse for a prince, Moses. There is only one true prince of Egypt, and now he is Pharaoh. You smell of sheep.
Yeah, he probably shouldn't have been rooming with Welshie. So, of course, Pharaoh does not listen to Moses' plea. He does the staff into snake trick, but the palace magicians are able to do the same thing. And they don't even get a big musical number to cover it. So Pharaoh makes the slaves work harder, and of course they're not happy about this, including Dathan, Pharaoh's spy. In this version, he has kind of an annoying voice.
Are you happy now? They're working us harder.
But in the classic Ten Commandments, this is the character played by Edward G. Robinson. Yeah, you went messed up, see? They're working us harder, see? Now go tell your Messiah to buzz off or we'll give him the business, see? Yeah, give him the business. 'Cause when I say go, see? Well, the fat lady gets it. So Moses goes back and turns the water into blood. Well, that, or it's just Egypt's time of the month.
Let my people go.
Geez, that's kind of a key line to this story. You could have at least said it with some more oomph. In fact, since this is an animated film, why couldn't Moses have expressed this through song? Just let my people go, so we can go to the promised land. It's not here where we live in fear, and where we can barely stand. So Moses brings on the plagues, and we get all the usuals. Lice, frogs, flies, sores, hail, Hydra, fire, locusts, darkness.
Human sacrifice, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Finally, Moses announces the final plague, the death of the firstborn. The slaves put the sheep's blood on their doors to keep the spirit out.
Choose the form of the destructor.
And again, the spirit is depicted as a wavy ghost thing. Check. I really don't think the spirit needed to knock the statues over like that, unless it just wanted to say that God came in like a wrecking ball. So Pharaoh frees the slaves, and they're off to the promised land.
He will guide us. I have faith that he will lead the way.
It's a twister! It's a twister!
So they are led to the Red Sea. Meanwhile, Egypt has come to a standstill, so Pharaoh decides to go after the slaves. He didn't even bring his robot tentacles. Baldies! Attack! They seem trapped until Moses parts the Red Sea and they pass through.
I thought I'd lost her.
She wanted to see the fish.
There's a lot of them, you know. So the sea closes up and takes Pharaoh's army down with it. And now, here's Mr. Kyle Justin to sing a song to remember them by.
Where did their hair go? Ooh, where did their hair go? Where did their hair go? Where did their hair go?
Pharaoh is spared, I guess, so he can walk the earth and think about what a dick he's been.
May your honor be stricken forever. May your name always be associated with douchebaggery. And may you walk until you walk no more. May the harshness of this world have no mercy on your soul!
Anyway, he's just going to end up looking like this. So now it's back onto the promised land again.
Are we there yet?
No, that was not added. That's actually in the film. The people keep bothering Moses about water and food, and while God gives in to their demands, they are still not satisfied.
Why hasn't God given us any meat?
All we get is manna. Manna, manna, manna. The Egyptians gave us meat.
We had fish and cucumbers and melons.
Cucumbers and melons aren't meat.
I meant beef and lamb.
We always had beef and lamb.
Yeah.
We did?
We had a wide variety of foods to choose from.
I mean, let's face it, a little manna goes a long way.
Yeah. Why, I couldn't have put it any better myself.
But you told us what to say.
Bible stories are wacky.
There is no meat out here.
It's okay with me.
I have spoken to the Lord. He will give you meat, not just for 1 day or 10 days, but for a whole month, until it comes out of your ears.
Then be covered in hairs and earwax. Ugh. This is where Joshua comes into the story. I'm sorry, there's nothing funny about this character, but when I was looking through the cast list, I saw this character's voice actor, Matt Hill, also happened to do the voice of a certain not too bright character, so now whenever I see Joshua, all I can think of is...
Table for two! I will blow your nose! Why is Ed sitting in a box? What you can do when you're living on chewing you ain't got no soul! I should have all the feeling back in my feet after this word from our sponsor, Double B. Pickle! Buy one, get one free! Man the helms! Dive! Dive!
So Moses comes to the mountain where God first spoke to him, and he and Joshua go up the mountain to receive God's laws. But this takes a while, and the people down below get impatient, so they pressure Aaron to make them a god. So, instead of an invisible god, whose powers you've clearly seen, you would rather have an immobile statue that can do nothing. I really don't follow your reasoning. So the golden calf is made. Well, I hope you're happy. Not only do you still have to walk to the promised land, but now you've got a giant gold statue to carry with you.
Moses, this is the Lord thy God, commanding you to obey my law. Do you hear me?
Yes, I hear you. A deaf man could hear you.
What?
Nothing, punished, forget it.
So God uses a bunch of floating letters to write down the 10 Commandments and gives them to Moses. Moses brings them down to the people, but of course they're too busy with their metal cow.
Today, you will witness the judgment of the Lord.
Well, way to make those last!
Laws. They're destroyed.
I will go back to the mountain. God will provide us another set.
Oh, come on! You know how long it took me to write those out the last time?
We must construct an ark to house the tablets. And we must construct a tabernacle so that God may dwell in our midst.
And whatever we do, we must make sure that the Ark never gets taken by crazy German people in a Second World War. So time goes on, the people are still unappreciative, and eventually Moses' siblings begin to die.
We really caused Pharaoh some problems. You remember?
Snake.
And those flies. I think the flies were my favorite. Whoa, Pharaoh hated those flies. God has a great sense of humor.
Yeah, plaguing an entire nation. Good times. Good times. And he dies. Time goes on again, and eventually Moses gives his last speech to the people before sending Joshua to lead them into the Promised Land.
So Moses died there. No one knows his resting place until this day.
So what I'm saying is, he was abducted by aliens. Well, good night, everyone. I'm off to threaten Iron Man now. Well, there you have it. Terrible animation and lackluster voice acting really sink this adaptation. And it certainly doesn't get better when you compare it to the earlier and much better version done in the same medium. I wonder if this studio has been able to rebuild itself and learn from this mistake. I'm gonna find out. Oh my gosh. You've got to see this. So apparently, in 2012, this same company, with the same directors, made a film about Noah. With a cast including Michael Keaton, Jason Lee, Jason Mewes, Rob Schneider, Marcia Gay Harden, Nicholas Sheridan, Miguel Ferrero, Howie Mandel, Tommy Tiny Lister, And also with Ben Kingsley and Elliot Gould reprising their roles from this movie. Wow, I have to find this. Yes, I must seek this out. The skies may fall and the valleys may rise, but I shall seek this nonsense out. I will climb every mountain. I will swim every stream. I will follow every rainbow until it is found. I'm film reviewer Schultz, and I am off to the Promised Land!
Wash your hands before you eat.
Wash your hands before you eat.
Brush your teeth after every meal.
Brush your teeth after every meal.
See your doctor and your dentist.
See your doctor and your dentist.
We all need checkups, no matter how good we feel. Oh, how lovely life will be if we keep the 10 commandments of health. Commandments of health. Cover your nose whenever sneezing.
Cover your nose whenever sneezing.
Cover your mouth when you're coughing too.
Cover your mouth when you're coughing too.
Dress warmly in cold weather.
Dress warmly in cold weather.
And you won't have much coughing or sneezing to do. Oh, how lovely life will be if we keep the 10 commandments of health.
I couldn't find it.